What's going on, my YouTube people? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing great. I missed you guys, man. Here it is, man. The long and anticipated wait. Sorry I had to make you guys wait, but I wanted to do it right. But here you go. You guys have spoken. We got Ghosts of Tsushima GOT as the number one vote for the poll on the side-by-side gaming comparison with these two giant TVs right here, the big boys, the masters. We got the LG G3 and the 77 inch on the left. We got the Samsung S95C also in the 77 inch on the right. Which one's better? Which one is better at gaming? Which one has more capability? Which one has better detail? Which one, that's really the topic of discussion when it comes to these two TVs when it comes to gaming. I know that in gaming, the gaming world, this is really kind of like the number one priority is what's going on with these two TVs when it comes to decision making in this spectrum or this level of TV panels. Basically, the top of the food chain is what I'm saying. So, and guys, listen, man, it is. I don't know what else to say, guys. It's just tough for me because I have a love for both of them, and they both definitely have their advantages over each other. And it's just repetitive, you know what I mean? It's just the same thing over and over again. I like to kind of just talk a little bit about my settings that I got here and some of the recommended settings that I have. I'm gonna go flip over to the G377 inch on the left. I'm going to hit settings. It's going to bring you right automatically to game optimizer. As you can see right in the middle, right here, I am in RPG. I'm going to go to my game optimizer. So you can kind of just see where I'm at as far as settings, guys. I am more of a fan of like that blue light. Of course, if you wanted to, you can always change it to a different level if you wanted to, and go from there. But again, I am more of the blue cool look. Um, that's my personal opinion. You go here, as you can see, you got ALLM on, VRR and G-Sync on. FreeSync Premium is not on. PS5 does not support that, so I kind of turned that off. I have my fine-tuned dark areas at 0, and let's go up here. We're going to go to picture, and you're going to also see again the genre is at RPG. Black stabilizer I do like at 10. I flipped around back and forth. It really does depend on the game for me when it comes to the black stabilizer, to be honest with you, but I feel like between 8 and 10 for this game is where I'm at. White stabilizer, the same thing with this particular game. I'm more at 6. I know a lot of people will say bring that down, or some people will say bring that up, but I'm literally right at 6, guys. So, it is more of a personal preference thing when it comes to these things. Game contrast defaults at 100. Black level, I actually put the black level up to 58. Um, I've You can tone it up, you can tone it down. I just feel like at 58, it kind of puts it at a level where it's not blown out or it's not washed out, but it's not too dark, and where you can still see some details in the dark areas. I adjust the sharpness to 40. You can really bring it up higher if you want more detail. I will say that when it comes to sharpness, the G3 definitely does better than the Samsung S95C. Just has more detail in it. I don't think the S95C can come even that close to the level of detail that the G3 can get to in that perspective. Um, and then I got the game color depth at 70. Now here's the crazy part: is the being the game color depth is all the way up to 70. It still is not at that level of color depth as what you get when you're even all the way down to like the 20s in the QD OLED. So it's funny because you got more detail out of the LG, but you don't get that color depth that you can reach to the extent if you wanted to on the Samsung S95C. So there's definitely some toss-ups there. So I just wanted to show you guys there, and then I'm gonna go obviously to all settings, and I'm going to show you where I'm at for all settings here. We're going to go to advanced settings. We're going to go obviously to color. You can see once you're in game mode, it kind of just grays out most of the areas here. Keep it under color gamut auto detect. I think it just does the right job when you do that. I wouldn't really mess around with that. Tint, I definitely have at 0. Um, Clarity, or actually, I'm sorry, let's go to brightness. We're gonna go to dynamic tone mapping is on. I just feel like even though a lot of people say turn that off, I feel like it's a little too dark. Not a fan of that. I do like a little bit more brightness, and I know a lot of people say it kind of washes out the color. To me, it definitely does not wash out color. Or recommended is HGIG. To me, that's kind of somewhere in the happy medium, but I am more into the dynamic tone mapping. But I will put it on HGIG just for just for purposes of gaming. Now, brightness enhancer, I personally like it, or expression enhancer. I personally like it in brightness or detail. Detail is kind of like a nice happy medium. As you can see, it kind of brings down the brightness a little bit, makes it more dim. But again, you will get more detail out of the picture. And again, it does also depend on the game. I know a lot of people say when you're gaming, they recommend to turn it off. But as you can see, between off and detail, there's really no difference at all. If there is, it's like a 0.05 difference. I rarely even see it. Even so, I like to keep it in detail. So again, we're going to scroll down. You can see all this is grayed out. Your gammas, like your midtones, your peak brightness is obviously on high, but you can't do anything because it's down and grayed out. Motion eye care, things like that. And then you'll go to clarity. You're going to pretty much see that everything is grayed out over here. So I'm trying to find out why I can't get to true motion. I'm still kind of learning the TV and things like that. Now you can reduce the blue light as well if you want. Over here, it does look nice, but it does kind of give me a little bit of a pink look to it. Not that big of a fan. I know you can adjust it and things like that, but I'm not going to do that. So I do like more of the cool look as it is anyways. So now I am going to go ahead and show you where I'm at in the Samsung S95C. And again, just to let you guys know, I am more of a fan of brightness when it comes to game playing. I know that that may not be the correct or recommended by professional calibrator way to go, but again, I'm not the biggest fan of you know, doing playing in a more dim scenes. I'm more into brightness and pop and color, and I try to do my best to still make it nice and just colored and vibrant, but without oversaturating and without blowing out the picture and things like that. And it's kind of hard, especially when it comes to specular highlights. So you kind of got to really do a lot of fine tuning. But I just feel like, yes, even though in the G3 you do have to kind of play with the settings more than you do on the S95C, I think your overall detail and pop and that 3D look with tone mapping on definitely looks better in some perspectives. And then obviously the color that you can get to in the S95C looks better than the G3. So it's kind of tough. But anyways, here we are. I am in the game mode. Motion Plus is on level 1. I think it looks nice and smooth with that on. We're going to go to game mode settings so you can see where I'm at. We're going to go right to game picture expert. And as you can see, HDR 10 plus gaming is off. Game HDR basic is on. Now, if you really want to go bright, obviously you can do that, but not too much of a fan on that. Kind of looks like blows out or really does oversaturate a little bit. Goes a little too crazy for me on that one. Dynamic black equalizer is down to 0. You can change that, but I would really recommend just keeping it down. That's the best way to go there. And then over here, as you can see, we'll back out. We're going to go to picture. We're going to go to expert. You can see the brightness is at 50. Some people might want to turn that down. Contrast. I put the sharpness all the way up to 20 just to see how much detail I can get. I think most people would probably keep that down to maybe even, between 8 or 6 and 10. Again, to me, it depends on what game. But I like to keep it up to 20 just to compare. Color, as you can see, I put down to 23. I know a lot of people recommend 22, but I really do think 22 is a little too low. I like 23. And then obviously the tint is at 0. You go to contrast enhancer. Now, as you can see, that's off. Some people recommend keeping it on low, but I know most people or calibrators would like to recommend to keep that on off. HDR tone mapping, as you can see, it is on active. Most people will probably recommend to keep it on static. I don't care either or. Again, it really does depend whether you want the picture a little bit brighter, then yeah, you would keep it on active. So I am more of a fan of a little bit brighter, but without blowing it out. So that's why I keep it on active. Color tone, as you can see, is on cool. I know a lot of people would recommend warm too, but again, I do like the more cool look, so it is on 2. White balance, you're going to notice is grayed out for the 20 points, and then gamma, that's by default ST 280 or 2084. You can't change that when you're in games. But you can see shadow details. I put about -2. I think that's about right for this particular game. When it comes to other games, it really does depend on what you're playing. But for the most part, shadow detail -2 I think is great because it doesn't crush blacks. And then color space settings, as you can see, even though I have it under custom, I do like the DCI P3. That is the most recommended, and that is the most accurate one. So as you can see, guys, peak brightness is on high, right at second to the bottom, and that's where we're at. So now let's talk about what this game looks like in both of these. I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna gray out and look at the beautiness of these two right here, guys. You can barely tell which one is which. The one thing I gotta say is when it comes to the S95C, it is a more vibrant TV. Colors are obviously there. Like you can see right where the yellow is here. I'm gonna run on that patch right here. As you can see, it is definitely brighter. It looks nicer. It looks more vivid, but without blowing out the color or without oversaturation. As you can see, it looks more dim on the left on the LG G3. So it's a little bit of an issue when you're comparing yellows, in my opinion. But when you're walking down, and then let's say you go into the shadowy areas right here. Now, the problem that I have is the little walk path, this dirt area right here. As you can see in the middle is kind of like mud, but on the side, on the two sides over here, you can see that it's kind of like dry, more mud that's dry. If you look at the G3, it is more detailed. It is darker. It looks more natural. Doesn't look as washed out. And that's with the color depth even higher. So that's what I was trying to say is that sometimes it's tit for tat. Sometimes it's blow for blow. You want the more natural look when it comes to like the dirt and things like that. Mud, you're going to definitely go with the G3. And on top of that, because of the tone mapping, and that MLA tech, it does have more of a 3D pop to it. So detail, 3D pop for the win on the G3, color vibrancy, reflections and things like that off the ground. Definitely go to the S95C, as you can see right there. So, those are little things that you kind of want to point out, but, it's all personal preference when it comes down to it. I'm going to go over here and as you can see, the grass area. Oh, let's run away because I don't want to fight right now. But as you can see here, I'm going to actually call a horse. When you're kind of just running around, I'm going to go to more of like an area where there's more sky. Look how beautiful the sky looks on the S95C, guys. Look at that. Look at how beautiful. Here we go. Right here. Look at this. So you can see it's brighter. Um, Again, and I know I can make the G3 look brighter and closer to this, and I'm gonna, show you guys another video when I'm gonna actually do a different comparison on a different game, to show you some other differences. But um, it's just the QD OLED technology on the Samsung. The the biggest thing to me about this TV is that when you're looking at the game, it catches your eye. It is a very attractive looking TV. It's just the display of it is beautiful. So for for me, a person who likes brightness, I would have to go with the S95C in this particular game right here because you can tone down the settings, right, on the S95C and still have that color pop. That's something that the LG can't quite do. So what the LG has the advantage of is you definitely have more options as to getting more detail out of the picture. You definitely get a more 3D pop. I feel like the motion processing definitely is better on the G3 without a doubt. Um, but it does take more of the fine tuning within the G3 to get to a certain level of picture that you would prefer to get to. So, that's all I'm really trying to say. So again, when you're going through this area over here, obviously the yellows look good. Hopefully the atmosphere changes and the colors change with the sun setting and stuff so you guys can see. But what that looks like too. But let's go down to the water over here. So this is another thing that I wanted to bring up to topic because when it comes to the water, as you can see, guys, the water looks more clear on the LG G3. Um, Definitely has more detail and just has just a more of an attractive clear water look. But I like the way the reflections off the water look better on the Samsung S95C. As you can tell, it's brighter, um, and it just looks more like the sun is naturally shining down. Doesn't look as processed. It looks to me, it just looks better. So that's these are little things that you have to kind of weigh off. You know what I mean when you're making these decisions. But if you look over here, you see where the mountains meet with the trees, where the sun is reflecting on the right over there. Well, what I'm noticing right off the bat is just it looks like a real like it's actually broad daylight, like the sun is actually out and shining on the rock and the trees on the S95C. Over here definitely looks more dim. With that's with brightness all the way up, and I know I can change the tone mapping and make it a little bit brighter, but I don't want to do that because what I'm afraid of is kind of blowing out the color and blowing out it's just making it oversaturated where it won't look as natural. So we're approaching the sun over here, and they both look great. Um, I would say I do like the way the yellows look better in this particular scene right here. I feel like the specular on the G3. I feel like they do look a little bit more orange on the S95C. Again, that's a personal opinion, but again, the way the yellows look on the LG definitely looks better in this particular scene. And I think it's because the sun is kind of shining through all these trees here. Because there's other scenes where I like the yellow, like in the beginning where we went up to all those yellow leaves on the ground. It looked better to me on the S95C. So it's just weird. It's hard to explain. Um, but again, it changes all the time. So it's you know, it's crazy because you guys are probably seeing something completely different in the camera. So I'm really just trying to explain as best as I can what I see. But we're gonna go over here, and I mean, geez, guys, look at this area over here. It just looks gorgeous. Like, look at, I'm trying to get away from that. Look at that. So I wanted to bring this up because if you look at the details over here in the sky now that it's changing and the sun is setting, um, they fairly look the same. I think through the camera it's going to look more pink on the right, which is the S95C. Please try to ignore that, guys. No matter how much you adjust the camera, it's always going to look like that. So um, my recommendation is if you're going to be looking for brightness, then what you're going to go for is probably in gaming at least, or color volume, you're probably going to be going for the S95C. I mean, it's just really kind of that simple. Um, if you're looking if you're looking for something where you want more of a natural, more accurate color, um, where it's you're then yeah, you're gonna go with the G3. So as you can see right here, what I do like about the S95C is you're gonna get like those specular highlights right now. Oh, those specular highlights right now are just doing its thing. They really are. So in the sun, like look, if I'm walking towards the sun on the S95C, look at how beautiful that looks. I'm just keep running and running towards it. You know, that's without saying. I mean, obviously, it just looks great right there. Look at that. Now, when it comes to clarity, guys, I gotta say, as far as the picture goes, um, the LG definitely looks more clear. Like, there's gonna be some, like, especially around fog and smoke, you're gonna notice that the LG definitely has a more clear picture, which I like better. You're gonna notice, like right here, the whites are more white in the grass or whatever you call these things. They're not as pink, which I like better. Um, in the G3. Crossing over the bridge here definitely looks more pink on the Samsung S95C on the right. It does look more natural on the G3. Then we're going to keep running across the map over here. We're going to just keep going this way. Here, I'll actually just call the horse. Now, we're kind of running towards some smoke over here. If you can see in the sky right there. So here's the thing, like especially when it comes to like smoke, um, the smoke has more detail in the G3. Like it just has this pop to it that looks more 3D. It looks more realistic. Like it looks like smoke you would see in real life. So like if you look in the sky, don't get me wrong, they both look great. But I mean, it's hard to explain. You got to see it for yourself. The smoke looks more flat. The G3 just has this pop to it. And I know people keep saying, well, you know, if you turn tone mapping off or things like that and put it, then yeah. But guys, listen to me. The whole point of this is to show you the differences in the capability of what one can do over the other. You want to see the differences. What is the point of watching these videos if you're just going to make the TVs look exactly the same? You know, you can't, first of all, you can make them look almost exactly the same. You can never be able to make them look exactly the same. You can make them look close, but you can't make them look exactly the same. They're two completely different technologies. So you just got to get that out of your head. Even if they're professionally calibrated, they're still going to look different, even when you try to make them as accurate to each other as possible. They have different technologies, guys. So there's no way you can possibly make them look exactly the same. So my point is that the whole reason why I think and people want to see these videos is to see the difference between them so they can decide what's more important to them. Like I said, if you want more detail, if you want more of a natural look to a TV, you're most likely going to go with the G3. If you want more color pop, if you want more vibrancy, and you want higher brightness when it comes to gaming, then yeah, you're gonna go with the S95C. It's, you know what I mean. Me personally, I have them both, so I can tell you guys what I like over the other in person by personal experience. So that's why I would think you want to watch these videos. Is you want to watch these videos with these side by side by somebody who actually owns the TVs and just gives you their personal experience with both of them. And that's what I'm thinking that you would want to see. So because when I'm shopping for anything, that's what I'm looking for. Is I want to know the differences and the advantages and disadvantages between the two. So now, guys, when it comes to other things like this, I know we're talking a lot about you know picture quality and capabilities and things like that. What I want to also bring up to topic is when you're gaming on these two TVs in game optimization mode. Input lag, they're both going to be the same. There's no difference between them, at least it doesn't feel like it. They both feel terrific, and motion processing on both of them is amazing. So you can't, they're both beasts when it comes to motion processing. I don't think you're really gonna regret anything in particular when it comes to that. So you're gonna be good either way you go. I know a lot of people were asking about that and things. Oh, so here's another here. I'm gonna run down towards here. Look at how beautiful this is right here. All right, so what I will say is right there, looking at the sun, it looks the dynamic, like just look at the specular highlights. I feel like when you're actually looking at the sun on the G3, it doesn't look as blown out as it does on the S95C. And that's with the color brought down too on the S95C. The crazy, I know you have to really bring the color up to make it look the way it does on the G3. But at the same token, look at the details. Like here, we're going to get closer to the waves. Look at the details in the water. Watch, I'm going to go right to the reflections. You see how like it's more fine-tuned on the G3 where it's not as blown out? Look at that. Look at that smoothing. See how it has more detail? Look at that. So it's kind of hard to really call, you know what I mean? Because if you look at the S95C, you can tell it's kind of blown out. Has a little bit more pink to it, and it looks more natural. This is like the way you would look at it in real life in the G3 on the left. But when you look at the reflections on the rock on the S95C from the sun, it looks better. Like it has a nicer reflection than it does on the G3. Look at that. Look at the details in the sky. Look at the pink. So it's all it's just all about what you think is best for you. The nice part is you can change the settings to whatever you want. It just does take a lot of time to really figure out what you think the best settings are. A lot of people will go online, kind of look up some recommended tips and things like that, which we all do. What I like to do is kind of do the same thing, but I also like to tweak it because I know when it comes to brightness and things like that, I'm more of a brightness person, and I do like more brightness, but when it comes to certain games, I rather not sacrifice detail. So it's kind of hard. It's for me, it's a real toss up because I'll look at a game, right? And I'll be like, "Oh, what the heck?" Like I'll put these two next to each other and I'll look at, let's say, something like this, like the rocks, right? And I'll be like, "Okay, so why are the rocks like let's like have so much more detail on the G3 versus the S95C?" And then I'll try to change to get more detail out of the S95C, and then I'll start to lose other things like color, or it'll start to look too dim or things like that. And then, the whole purpose of the QD OLED is to make that color pop. So then I start getting aggravated about that. So and then let's say I want more color out of the G3, then I start to really gear more towards the color, and then I start to lose a little bit of detail. So then I have to put the sharpness all the way up, and then it starts to just look a little grainy or a little too much. So it's a toss up between the two. So it's really hard to really decide which one you would really prefer, if you had to choose one. So overall, my recommendation would be, like, if you're looking for more color pop, or a color volume, then yeah, you're automatically going to go with the S95C. If you're looking for more of like detail, more 3D pop, you're definitely going to go with the LG G3, and it is no slouch in color. So yes, you do have to mess and fine tune the settings more than you do with the S95C, but the results will be a lot, or just be very, you'll get a very clear image. It's not as washed out. And again, that's a personal opinion of mine. With these two TVs right next to each other, again, all I'm just saying is what I see, guys. So, what do you guys think? So that's my thing, is I want to know what your personal opinion is. We're going to go up to this fire over here so you guys can see what these fires look like. You're probably going to think that it looks better through the camera on the S95C. I think it does have more color vibrancy, but we'll check it out and see. So we're going to go in here. I think the fire was over here, right? No? Where was it? Oh, was it up top? Whoops. I can't read it. Let's go this way. But yeah, look, now it's nighttime. All right, we'll just go to this little fire here because I can't find it. Here, we're gonna try to find. Here we go. Look at this, guys. So as you can tell right off the bat, they both look gorgeous. More clarity out of the G3 for sure. More color though out of the S95C. Definitely more of a 3D look out of the G3. It just looks like that's real life, and this is again with the color toned down to only 23 on the S95C. So, but yeah, tell me, guys, what do you think? This is, I don't want to be too long. I am going to do more gaming videos too, by the way, as that is my favorite topic. But I just want to see what you guys think. So, I'm going to keep this a little bit of a short one because I know you guys been dying to see this. I want to thank everybody out there for your support, man. I really, really do. Um, I like to talk about settings more often. I like to talk about what settings you guys like on your TVs when you're gaming. Please let me know what you like. I can always change the settings according to what you think is best. And I can do comparisons that way too. This is an open commentary in YouTube on my videos. You can always comment and see what you think you want to do, or you want me to do. I'm sorry. And You guys can always let me know what your personal thoughts are on all this. So, I'm going to keep this a short one, guys. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you, guys, by the way, for all the new subscribers. It was a huge spike in new subscribers. So I really, really appreciate that, guys. You guys are truly the best. I want to thank everybody who's been commenting and just being so kind and cool about everything. Thank you so much. Asking me questions on what I would recommend and things like that, giving each other advice, and just kind of learning these two TVs together. As you guys already know, um, I have been an owner of a lot of TVs for a long time, so this is just something that I love to do, and this is something that I love to share with everybody. So, hey, if you guys enjoy these types of videos and want to see these comparisons more often with these two beasts, believe me, that's what I'm here for. So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, guys, thank you so much and appreciate it. And